European gas prices have soared on supply fears, with the Kremlin likely to keep flows at minimal levels as the war in Ukraine drags on. For more on this, let's talk to Bloomberg's Rachel Morison in London. Rachel, Nord Stream gas flows then, they've fallen to about 20% capacity. How do we know? How long is this likely to last? Do we have any sense, or do you need to be the mind reader of Vladimir Putin to get a real accurate gauge on how long this goes on for?
That really is the key question, how long flows are going to be reduced for and what the levels will be. So we know from insiders that it's likely, as you mentioned, that flows will remain reduced. And it sounds as though from what analysts are saying that we really need a bit more than 20% to ensure that storage levels get filled in Europe in time for winter. So you can see the prices have been so volatile, but that's really showing us that even though President Putin did mention this supply cut last week, that nobody really knew whether it would happen or to what degree. So at this point, we've only got one turbine functioning on Nord Stream. So if something happens to that one, if it also needs maintenance unexpectedly, then flows would be cut. But equally, there is a turbine coming from Canada to Germany and then to Russia that's supposed to replace this one, which should mean that it can continue. And you have to weigh up the two things. On one hand, Russia need somewhere to send the gas. It does need a customer in order to continue to get the revenue from the high gas prices. But at the same time, it's really a political tool and a political weapon that Putin, it seems, is using to try to splinter European solidarity.
So that's the test then, the next turbine, whether it arrives or whether it's put in place and whether it increases flows on the back of that. Price is currently up 7.8%. They've been up elevated every day of this week. In terms of that focus from European ministers to reduce reliance and cut back by 15%, yes, it's still voluntary, but how effective is that likely to be?
Yes, what we saw yesterday was voluntary, and then if the situation deteriorates, it can become mandatory. There were a lot of exceptions that watered down this agreement. So certain countries will have, less obligation to do this. So really, I think overall, the interpretation of the 15% is that voluntarily it won't make that much difference, and if the situation gets bad, then we will see mandated rationing, and it will be at a national level. So that will be factories, industries being told that they must shut off at certain times.